So I thought that was a great video kind of introducing you what an architect does during the day. I hope you found that informative. That was by Stuart Hicks. He's a really great, he's an instructor, an architectural instructor, and he produces a lot of those great videos. So I would suggest you subscribe if you want to get some more information like that. If we were together in class, I would ask you to use our keyword in sign in now. And I'm going to run through quickly what the whole course of modules is, kind of like the justification for everything that we're going to do and how they contribute to your learning experience. So we're going to start off next week, this lab this week, with just a general building assignment. We're going to learn how to make walls, roofs, manipulate windows and doors, create some views, and put those things on a sheet to show someone else. This really tells me if you're getting some of the basic concepts or you're struggling. So it's just a quick and easy way for us to get onto a starting footing, so to speak, with where we're going to go with the course. After that, we're going to start actually on a many-week-long project of making a building in quite detail. And we're going to start differently than you would as an architect. We're actually going to start as if we were building the building. We're going to start by laying out steel in a grid system, 20 foot on center. We're going to place steel in place, put foundations and what are called footings below those to support the building. And then we're going, and that's in week one, put that together as a presentation. Then the next week, the next module, we're going to add window systems, what are called spandrels, a roof system, and a floor system, and communicate that. Then the next week, the next module, we're going to actually experiment with rendering that and presenting that model on sheets of paper, and then adding some details to it and presenting that as technical details or technical construction documents. So by the fourth week, you'll really have a good handle about how this software really helps you in architectural practice, from both coming up with a concept idea to actually being able to produce construction documents. And then I'll teach you a lot of these next lesson will be to show you a lot of the embellishments that we do to architecture, creating a site for it, sidewalk, curbs, adding signage to the building, creating a bespoke awning, a custom awning, working with materiality. And then we'll go back and look at how that automatically modifies our construction document so we don't have to restart that over, which is a fundamental benefit of using this information modeling environment. Many students take, and I've actually skipped over, we're going to do another project, but this is in the sequence of working on this building. We're going to go into the interior of the building. We're going to learn how to place stairways, furnishings, do lighting, create ceiling systems, create bespoke building components, really take a good look at all of the features that are available to us in interior modeling. And for those who are taking interior design, this will probably be one of the most fun parts of computer visualization. We'll step out, once again, start to look at the facade, just the exterior of a building, and come up with ideas of making presentations of concepts that we have. In this case, we're going to look at a townhouse, and we're going to really experiment with this idea of traditional details, the conventional ways that we build with profiles and sweeps, and the materiality of traditional kinds of construction. And this is a relatively simple exercise in using repeating modules in order to create what would be a kind of a townhouse arrangement. Back now behind that, though, we will do this idea of exploring curvilinear shapes and then applying structure to them and creating what's called a space frame. So we'll make modules and then play those modules out over a surface, create what's called an adaptive truss to support that system, and this kind of what I think is a really interesting project. Along with the idea of creating construction details, we're going to look at what's called light frame construction. So this is we're going to make a little section of a building. We're going to cut through it. We're going to cut through it as a 3D model. And we're also going to be able to embellish that model so that when we try to present it as a two-dimensional model, which is what is on the left here, it's already full of the kind of details that are needed for somebody to be able to construct it. So this is a good preparation for what will happen in construction tech in your sequence of educational programs here. We'll learn some of the larger types of construction methods, curtain wall construction, where we'll make modules of different kinds of building elements and spread those out over the surface to create a more commercial type of facade. And then we'll actually take kind of a combination of a few things that we've learned and go through this idea of making kind of a mashup of a facade, typically that we see nowadays with different ideas of massing, materiality, just to get an idea about how you can quickly work through shape and form, breaking up that kind of box-like look to things and learning some of those techniques. You'll get a chance. You could actually be very creative on this. I give you an outline for it, but you actually could make this building, as long as you stick with some of the parameters of it, almost to look any way you want. And then I'll take that project at the same time then, and we'll place it on a site. So we'll start to understand the beginnings or ideas of topography, the topographical changes in elevation on a site, and then how we integrate buildings and parking lots and walkways and things like that into the site. And then obviously create these really nice photorealistic renderings of what our project might look like. We're really towards the end of the course now, and I take you into this kind of realm of what's called computational modeling or computational programming, where we define shape and form based purely on mathematics, distances of objects. And so don't be intimidated when I say the word math. It's really a relatively simple concepts of math, and most of the computations are handled by the computer. There's very little literal math that you're doing, but we learn how to put these nodes together to manipulate numbers in order to create different kinds of forms. So I think it's a very interesting kind of introduction to a new way of thinking about doing design. And then the final one we do is really to help prepare you for studio work, to be quick and efficient in the idea of creating and articulating facades, the way buildings look. So we look at a few different techniques about modeling, from putting windows in wall systems and making sure the textures line up correctly, to making walls look like they're thick and massive, to putting walls in wall systems to create kind of a hierarchy. And all of this is using kind of a manipulation or a hack of commonly available tools within the Revit learning or modeling environment. And so that's really the whole crux of the course as far as the core elements that we're going to do. And then in the next clip, I'm going to go through the kind of in-class learning exercises that we're going to do to fill in the gaps that aren't covered in the big projects that we do.